Okay, I'm going to talk about race and ethnicity from an Australian perspective. So, race and ethnicity in Australia, this is just the bare essentials, okay? Australia is a multicultural country and it is better that way. But the way it talks about identity is shaped, unfortunately, by colonisation, migration waves, Indigenous sovereignty, census categories, social politics. Here's how it breaks down. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. This is not a race category, it's a distinct cultural, political, and sovereign identity. Aboriginal peoples, the first peoples of mainland Australia and Tasmania, and they have many different languages, cultural identities, spiritual beliefs, and all that sort of stuff. Okay, Torres Strait Islanders. These are Indigenous people from the Torres Strait Islanders, which are between Queensland and Papua New Guinea. So, key points in terms of this identity is based on descent, self-identification, and community recognition. It is not defined by skin colour. Indigenous identity is tied to country, kinship, language groups, and cultural law. It is recognised in law, health policy, and census categories. Indigenous identity sits outside the usual race ethnicity boxes because it predates the Australian state. So, also culturally and linguistically diverse communities, or COLD as they call them. Australia uses the term as COLD, culturally and linguistically diverse, instead of ethnic minority. So this refers to people who were born from overseas, have parents born overseas, and speak a language other than English at home, or identify with a non-Anglo cultural background. Some examples could be Vietnamese Australians, Lebanese Australians, Egyptian Australians, Greek Australians, Indonesian Australians, Sudanese Australian, Chinese Australians. So cold is about culture and language, not race, not how people look. Okay? So culture and language. It's not based on, anything people think it is. So race in Australia. Australia does not have an official race categories like the US. But race still operates socially, unfortunately, and sometimes, through skin colour, appearance, stereotypes, discrimination, and migration narratives. Common racialised groups include, like the white Australians, Anglo-Celtic European, Black Australians, African diaspora, Afro-Caribbean, and some Indigenous peoples. Asian Australians, like East, South, Southeast Asian, Middle Eastern Australians, Pacifica. These are social categories, not biological ones. And a lot of discrimination does occur to non-white Australians, or what people perceive as non-white Australians. All right. So how does Australia handle the census handle identity? So the census will ask about ancestry, like as in ethnicity, country of birth, parents' home country of birth, languages spoken at home, Indigenous status. It does not ask about race. Examples of ancestry could be Italian, Chinese, Indian, Scottish, Maori, Filipino, Somali, Croatian. People can select multiple ancestries because that is a reality in Australia. Why does this distinction matter? So, health and social services. So, culturally and linguistically diverse communities may need interpreters, culturally appropriate healthcare, targeted outreach, anti-racism. Yes, we need a lot more work on anti-racism because racism and race can affect policing, employment, housing, and media representation. Indigenous rights. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander is tied to sovereignty, land rights, communal, cultural continuity, and closing the gaps policies. Because unfortunately, our Indigenous people of Australia are behind in health and wealth statistics, well behind every other Australian. Okay, this is because institutionalised racism are racist policies which still occur in many ways. Okay, migration and belonging. Ethnicity shapes community networks, cultural practices, and settlement experiences. And look, Australia is definitely better the more migrants and refugees that we have, and from diverse communities from overseas. Australia is better. Okay, we are a country of immigrants, and we should welcome all immigrants and refugees. We should increase the number of immigrants and refugees we take. All right. So, look, overall, Australia, the race is a socially constructed category based on appearance and power dynamics. And this is what leads to a lot of racism. Ethnicity is about cultural heritage, ancestry, language, and community. Indigenous identity is sovereign, cultural, and a political identity distinct from both race and ethnicity. So, cultural and linguistically diverse, or COLD, policy term for multicultural communities. Australia's diversity is very layered, and people often hold multiple identities at once. So, and this is like, we definitely need to improve Indigenous rights and Indigenous healthcare. We need to improve migrant rights in healthcare and refugee rights in healthcare. We need to increase the number of migrants and refugees. Okay, Australia is not and has never been a white country, and I think we only do better when we have the more people, from different cultures around us. Thank you.